Funding for Shaperillis is provided by
Surfshark VPN. Tune in till the end to find out about their amazing service. Oh my god. Like, I knew it was gonna be bad, but damn. I never thought it could be such a mess. I never thought that it would go this far. And I just stand here stunned, searching for something to say. Something to say. Words absolutely do not fail. There's so much I need to say, to the point where you might as well consider this video a preview of a much longer, much more in-depth analysis later down the line of how this is absolutely the worst movie musical I have ever seen. Cats is looking at this shit and laughing at it. And see, here's the crazy thing. I like the musical version of Dear Evan Hansen, and this movie reminded me why. It was an incredibly well-directed and well-acted piece of theater that deserved some Tonys, just not 6, and absolutely not Best Musical over Great Comet, like come the f*** on. The songs were generally pretty great, and I thought the Murphy family, and especially Heidi, were compelling and sympathetic characters. Jared, and to a lesser extent Alana, were assholes, but they were funny assholes. And the protagonist, Evan Hansen, is a lying piece of shit sociopath, but the musical is clearly aware of this and frequently calls him out for his behavior, culminating in the epic call-out banger song, Good For You. Yes, that's the one I used in my YTP Sharp Talk. Evan and Oscar are extremely similar characters. The original musical does feature a protagonist that does some twisted and nightmarish stuff, having him pretend he was best friends with a dead kid in order to weasel his way into the kid's family and bone his sister. It would undoubtedly make a much better horror musical where it turns out Evan secretly killed Connor the whole time, slowly killing everyone who finds out in a pretty solid thriller mashup of Heathers and Little Shop of Horrors. But instead, we have this pseudo feel-good story that at least has the main character get called out for his actions and rightfully lose everything in the end. But here's the thing. I still think the story works because Evan doesn't feel malicious at the beginning of it. On stage, it feels like he's an extremely socially anxious kid who tries to tell the truth but gets cut off constantly and naively thinks it's easier to lie, since it makes the family happy. None of his actions should be excused, but you understand the character's initial intentions before he grows into a privileged little shit that rightfully needs to be knocked off his wrongfully obtained pedestal. Evan's initial naivete is at the core of why I believe this story still works. The most important thing to do when casting him is to emphasize his youth and find a kid that can really sell how uninformed and childish he is. Oh my god! Yes, this is the thing that everyone and their mom is talking about with this movie. Ben Platt just looks too damn old to play this role, and whatever makeup job they did only serves to make him look older. This was obviously just nepotism because his daddy's the producer and they wanted to advance his career even though they probably just set it back 10 years, which is hilarious. But here's the thing about this. Not only does Ben Platt just look horrific in this movie, I mean, I was clenching my toes during the opening number because of how soul-suckingly bad he looked, but it actually ruins more of the film than you'd think. It's impossible to suspend your disbelief anymore and assume this is a naive child performing these actions. This is a grown-ass man who should fully know that what he's doing is wrong and does it anyway because he's a fucking creep who deserves no sympathy. Yes, Platt was convincing in the role on stage and his performance was probably worth a Tony, but in this movie, he is abysmal. Every on-screen motion is conveyed so awkwardly, but not in an, oh yeah, that's a socially awkward teenager sort of way. It's a, why is this grown man hunched over and awkwardly twitching and Naruto running away sort of way. Legit, when he Naruto runs away from Zoe, I actually laughed out loud in the theater. I'm sorry, I really couldn't help myself. This really is one of the worst lead performances I've ever seen in a musical in quite some time. He's not even good during the songs. He does all these weird-ass voice cracks all the time. And I mean all the time. Not just once or twice. His voice cracks in every song, which I guess is meant to distract us from how old he is, because he didn't do that in the original show. He sounded crystal clear in that. So when your lead is an abysmal voice-cracking goblin man who's featured in every single song except for one, yeah, it makes the entire viewing experience not good. But how is the rest of the movie? Oh, it's awful, thanks for asking. The direction is entirely lifeless and flat. There's nothing interesting going on cinematography-wise. It legitimately feels like a Lifetime original movie at points. No one in this movie talks to each other like a human being does. They all say their lines in the most awkward way, pause for like 5 seconds, and then the other person chimes in. In the musical, when characters were devastated, they felt devastated. When they were angry, they felt angry. They talked over each other. They were having sobbing fits. The emotion was all there. None of that translated to the screen because the actors are so stiff and robotic. And it's clearly the director's fault because I know these are good actors. Caitlin Dever is good as Zoe. She gives what is pretty much the only performance I liked in this, but she has zero chemistry with Ben Platt, which can you really blame her? I'm amazed she was able to keep a straight face staring at this the entire movie. Amy Adams has nothing to do. Amanda Stenberg was fine, I guess. Julianne Moore is bland. It gives absolutely none of the same raw emotion Rachel Bay Jones did in her Tony-winning performance as Heidi, the fucking heart of the original musical. If it was so important to make this movie and preserve Ben Platt's Tony-winning performance as Evan Hansen, why was the same courtesy not extended to Rachel Bay Jones and her Tony-winning performance as Evan's mother? I'll tell you why. Because no character other than Evan matters in this fucking movie. Heidi is barely in this film and most of her songs are cut because she doesn't matter because her name is not Evan Hansen. The director has gone on record stating that the film's main goal was to capture and immortalize Platt's performance. This movie was made in order to get the mental image of a 27-year-old man poorly masquerading as a teenager into all of our brains for the rest of time. In order to really sell us on Ben Platt's godlike performance, they cut the opening number with Heidi and Cynthia, and then they cut Good For You, the song where Heidi and Evan's friends actually call him out on his bullshit. Because, God forbid, we call out the godlike performer that is Ben Platt! I'm sorry, you're right! If you're going to cut out the most important musical number plot-wise, the one that acknowledges that Evan Hansen is a bad person, then you're basically absolving him of his heinous actions. But what do you expect from a Ben Platt vanity project? A film that only exists because this performance is too good to be stuck in the filthy musical version. It needs a big budget Hollywood release. The world needs to see how beautiful and amazing Mark Platt's son is. How are the songs, by the way? Oh, they're all shit. Thanks for asking. I liked one song in this, and that is Requiem, aka the only song in which Ben Platt is never on screen. What a shock. That song at least manages to convey some emotion, and even then it was kind of undercut by these awkward iMovie cross dissolves, which great fucking work. You ruined the only good song in the movie. The only one where I don't have to listen to Platt's screechy, awkward voice or see his demented face. For Forever is brought down by said demonic face looking especially horrific when Evan stands next to a window and gets hit with a harsh light. Waving through a window is now the opener of the movie, so it means nothing now because we haven't gotten to see Evan acting awkward and we don't really know what he's singing about. They mixed the audio incorrectly in Sincerely Me so you can't hear the singing or the instrumentals underneath the sound of go-karts. Also, most of the song is Connor singing directly to the camera while walking through the school and it's very uncomfortable. I hate it. 80% of the choreography in general is just characters walking through hallways, which, huh? They added a new song for Alana that just feels like a complete waste of time. It's like, you added this, but cut Good For You and Anybody Got a Map? You Will Be Found is mostly awkward because of how little the filmmakers understand how people talk on social media. Only Us is weird because they changed it so that this is where Zoe and Evan's relationship starts, which, okay, good idea on paper. This movie actually fixes my biggest problem with the musical, which is the end of If I Could Tell Her, aka the objectively creepiest and worst moment in the entire show. I actually shut my eyes at this scene in the movie because I didn't want to look, but I did look, and they changed it. So in my mind, this is what finally bumped the movie's score up from a 1 out of 10 to a 2 out of 10. Cool. So now the two don't start dating until Only Us. But they don't change the lyrics of the song, so Zoe still sings as if they're already dating. What? The song makes no sense now. What are you talking about? And So Big, So Small is absolute shit. Not just because Julianne Moore seems more bored than anything, but because it keeps awkwardly cutting to Ben Platt's face when the focus should be entirely on Heidi. This fucking movie is making me lose my mind. Practically everything about it is wrong on some level. If you've never seen the original Dear Evan Hansen, you will hate this movie and the main character and the plot and the 13 Reasons Why ass depiction of mental illness it portrays. If you've seen and enjoyed the original musical, you will hate how thoroughly it butchers every single character and song. I could literally make a segment for all 8 of the characters, breaking down exactly how this movie completely failed all of them. And I will, at a later date. After this movie's out on digital and I can really dig into it. I have only scratched the surface of what I want to talk about, but I need to table most of it for now. I can safely say that I have not hated a movie this much since Artemis Fowl, my literal least favorite movie of all time. I'm giving this a 2 out of 10 just as an act of charity for the very few things it does better than the original musical. But make no mistake, This is the absolute worst movie musical I've ever seen in my life, and it's not even fun to make fun of. It's just a pathetic, shallow vanity project that only exists so a narcissistic scumbag can portray a sociopathic man-child in the most embarrassing manner imaginable. You really let them see the worst of you. You got what you always wanted. You've got your dream come true. Good for you. I should stop now. I have like 15 more of these puns in store. I really hope Evan Hansen goes surfing one day and gets eaten by a shark. Bada boom. That's the transition to Surfshark VPN. I'm actually too angry to think of a better transition. It's Let's talk about Surfshark VPN now, baby.
An incredible product that encrypts your data and protects you online. Surfshark VPN allows you to access geo-restricted content, meaning you can trick your browser into thinking you're in another country, thus allowing you to access content you couldn't get otherwise. That way, you don't have to physically travel to another country to watch that country's exclusive Netflix content, for example. You can also use Surfshark and its Surfshark Alert system to get alerts anytime your email address or password is compromised. Surfshark Alert scans various databases of leaked information and notifies its users if their data is found so they can take action, which is an absolutely invaluable feature. Surfshark is also totally unlimited, meaning you can use it on as many devices as you like, even all at the same time. No other VPN allows this. Go to surfshark.deal/Rillis and enter promo code Rillis to get 83% off and 1 extra month of Surfshark VPN for free. It's an amazing deal, and it's even better because it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not satisfied, you can cancel during those 30 days and get your money back. Once again, head to surfshark.deal/Rillis and enter the promo code Rillis. Have a great time with Surfshark VPN.